Hi, Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos. I'm Rabbi David Mark. I'm the rabbi at Temple Shalom of Pompano Beach, and we're very glad that you're joining us for our Shabbat service. I don't know if anybody heard that. Okay.
Yeah, Rabbi, it's all right. It's all set. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Anyway, this is a Shabbat that's taking place during Sphira. That is the counting of the Omer, and I'm going to be talking about that later. It's a strange time, the Omer. Well, let me say a little bit now. Rabbi Akiva was the greatest Talmudist among the rabbis who wrote the Mishnah and the Gemara, which together equal the Talmud. The Talmud, it's a spiral. In the middle of the spiral, you have the Torah Shebechtav, you had the written law, and around the boundary, you've got the Mishnah, which really means second. It's not the second law; it's just a commentary on the Torah, on the written Torah. And around the Mishnah, we have the Gemara, which means finished or completion. So the Gemara comments on the Mishnah, which comments on the Torah. And anyway, so Rabbi Akiva was a great Talmudist. And what happened was he had hundreds, thousands of disciples, according to legend. And the thing is that these disciples did not speak nicely about each other. They gossiped about each other, what we call lashon hara. And God sent a plague, and the disciples were dying, which is very sad. However, along comes that's why we talk about the sad, the mournful portion of the Omer. But by the time you get to Lag BaOmer, the 33rd day of the Omer, this is the time when the plague stopped. After which I have a question. Now, what happened on the 34th day of the Omer? Did the plague kick in again? I don't really understand. But again, this is all very vague. This is legend. This is mythology, and we're not really sure of how it was regarded. I do know personally that when I was in yeshiva and the Omer was coming, my father would explain to me in his gentle tones, David, the Omer's coming. Get a haircut. So I had to get a haircut, or sometimes I forgot. And that wasn't a terrible thing because back in the 60s, all of us old boys, all of us yeshiva boys in particular, were trying to become the Beatles or the Rolling Stones. We couldn't play instruments, but we could grow our hair. That's probably the easiest part of being a Beatle or one of the Rolling Stones. Anyway, I'm going to get a prayer book, which is right over there, and then we can start the davening. And later on in the service, we'll be counting the Omer. Tonight, you're not supposed to say it until you actually do it, but I'll tell you because you came early that we will be counting the 11th day of the Omer. The Omer is 7 times 7. It's 49 days, 7 weeks of 7 days. And after the Omer is done, Shavuot comes, which is the third of the pilgrimage festivals, Pesach, Sukkot, and Shavuot. And if I say Pesach, well, you think of matzah. When I say Sukkot, you all think of little grass shacks. When I say Shavuot, what is there to think about? I mean, we got the Torah. We're supposed to study Torah every single day. And it's mostly we think about a cheese kugel because you eat dairy on Shavuot. Okay, let's take it from page 13. Shalom Aleichem Malachi Hasharet Malachi Elyon Mimelech Malachi Hamlachim Hakadosh Baruch Hu Uboachem L'Shalom Malachi Shalom Malachi Elyon Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Lai 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 ya lai 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 ya lai 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 ya lai 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 Baruchuni l'shalom Malachei Hashalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech, Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech, Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Yeah, lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Let's take a look at the bottom of page 13. If you don't have a prayer book, you can download the prayer book from the computer. All right. Sun on the treetops no longer is seen. Come, let us welcome Shabbat, the true queen. Behold her descending, the holy, the blessed, and with her God's angels of peace and of rest. Come now, dear queen, and here abide. Come now, Shabbat our bride. Shalom Aleichem, angels of peace. The Yedid Nefesh, which is on page 14. And what is significant here is that God is the lover, Israel is the beloved. You can extend the metaphor by saying that God, or the Ribbon Shalom, the sovereign of the universe, is in heaven, while here on earth is the Shekhinah, God's feminine presence. And when the two of them come together, there is a remarkable outpouring of divine providence. Okay. Soulmate love, God, compassion's gentle source, take my disposition and shape it to your will. Like a darting deer, will I rush to you. Before your glorious presence, humbly will I bow. Let your sweet love delight me with its thrill, because no other dainty will my hunger still. How splendid is your light, illumining the world. My soul is weary yearning for your love's delight. Please, good God, to heal her, reveal to her your face, the pleasure of your presence, bathed in your grace. She will find strength and healing in your sight. Forever will she serve you, grateful with all her might. Die, 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 yada, die, 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 yada, die, 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 yada, die, 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 yada, die, 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 yada, die, 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 yada, die, 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 yada, die, 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 yada, die, 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 yada, die, 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 yada, die, 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 yada, die, 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 yada, die, 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 yada, die, 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 die. Yada die 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 die. Page 15, first of the 6 Psalms of God's creation. Naria litzur yeshenu nekadma fana bitoda bizmirot naria lo kiel gadol Adonai umelech gadol al kol Elohim. Let's read responsively in the English. Let us sing to Adonai. Let us rejoice in our Creator. Let us greet God with thanksgiving, singing psalms of praise. Together, Adonai is the foundation of all life, exalted beyond all that is worshipped. In God's hand rests the world he fashioned. Sea and land, abyss and mountain peak, all are God's. Let us welcome Adonai, worship Adonai, exalt our Creator, our God. We are the flock guided by God. Help is ours even today, if only we would listen to the divine voice. Harden not your heart in the way of your ancestors, who tried and tested me in the wilderness, even though they had witnessed my miracles. 40 years of contending with that generation led me to say, they are wayward, they care not for my ways. Indignation, therefore, did I vow. Never would they reach my land of peace, land of rest. Last 3 lines in the Hebrew. Arba'im shana kut bidor, Va'omar, am tohei lefavhei, Vehem lo yadu drachai, Asher nishpati v'yapi, Im yevohun el menuchati. Okay, continuing now on page 17. Adonai malach tagel haaretz, yismechu im rabim, ahanan varafel sevivav, sedek umishpat, lechon kiso. Okay, let's read responsibly, taking it from 5 stanzas from the bottom. Shame covers those who worship idols, those who take pride in revering images, which must themselves bow low before God. Hearing of your judgments, Adonai, Zion exults and the cities of Judah rejoice. You are supreme over all the earth, highly exalted beyond all that is worshipped. Those who love the Adonai hate evil. God protects the faithful and saves them from the wicked. Light is stored for the righteous, joy for the honorable. Rejoice in Adonai, you who are righteous. Claim the holiness of God's name. Or zaru ala tzadik ulishre lev simcha, simchu, tzadikim badonai, vehodu lezecher kadisho. All right, let's go on to page 20. We can sing this in the Hebrew. We customarily sing this on Shabbat morning when carrying the Torah around for the Torah recessional before we put it back in the ark. Mizmor leDavid, Avul Adonai, B'neilin, Avul Adonai, Kavod Vauz, Avul Adonai, Kivod Shemo, Ishtachavu Adonai, Behadrat Kodesh, Kol Adonai al Hamayim, El HaKavod Hirim, Adonai al Mayim Rabim, Kol Adonai Ba'akoach, Kol Adonai Behadar, Kol Adonai Shover Arazim, Vayishaber Adonai etar zehalavano, Vayar kidem kimo ekel, Levanon v'Sirion kimo ven rehemim, Kol Adonai lamabul yashav, Vayeshev Adonai melech liholam, Adonai hoz li'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Okay, page 21. Lechadoti likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat likabila. Lechadoti likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat likabila. Lecha, lecha, dodi, dodi, lecha, dodi, lekra, kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela, lecha, dodi, lekra, kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela, lekrat Shabbat lechuven elcha, כי מקור הברכה בראש מקדם ניסוחה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך לך דודי דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה. All right, turning to page 22. רואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, כולכם מונה עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך לך דודי דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה. Page 23. מזמור שיר ליום השבת. Reading silently. And the last four lines. Tzadi katamar ifrach, ki erez balvanon iske, shitulim beveit Adonai, bichatzro telohenu Ya'africhu. Odinuvun Beseva, Dishenim Virananim, Yehu Lehagi, Yashar Adonai, Suri. Hello, Avla Tabo. All right. We'll continue now. All right, this is my Devar Torah. The Torah portion is Achrei Mot, which means after the death of the two elder sons of Aaron. Their names were Nadav and Avihu. The younger ones were Elazar and Itamar, and they came through okay. They didn't get involved with the service to God at the Mishkan, at the shrine. They didn't see. We'll never know what exactly happened to Nadav and Avihu, why they were just killed dead by God. It could have been a thunderclap. It could have been lightning. We'll never really know. But the point is that they did something wrong. The most common example of doing something wrong would be drinking a strong drink before entering into the Mishkan, into the shrine. And we know they were probably very nervous, and it's altogether possible, like some people do today, they take a drink of alcohol before they have to do something difficult or disagreeable. And what happened was they came into the shrine and they were inebriated. So God slew them dead. We know, for example, I had the experience myself on the High Holy Days back in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I had this congregant who wanted to help me with the davening, and he'd been doing it for a number of years. And he thought very highly of himself. But what happened was he explained to me his secret for having a wonderful voice for the High Holy Days, not Yom Kippur, just Rosh Hashanah. He would take tea and pour it in a thermos, hot tea, and then on top of that, he would pour some whiskey. Now, I shut that down immediately because you're not supposed to drink alcohol when you're officiating before a Jewish congregation. It's just not done. So that could be something very similar to what happened to Nadav and Avihu. Another possibility, another possibility is that they bungled the recipe for the incense. They had to burn incense before God, and it had to be made up fresh. So somewhere along the line, they didn't do well and they forgot the instructions. But in any case, they wound up dead. And Aaron was in shock. And Moses is the first one to come to his senses after the death of Nadav and Avihu. And he explains to Aaron that they should remove the bodies from the sacred precinct, and then Elazar and Itamar should continue. All right. Now, aside from the death of Nadav and Avihu, the other significant part of this particular Torah reading is that it forbids the consumption of blood. And sadly enough, even though it's right there in the Torah that Jews don't drink blood, that's why, for example, we kosher our meat, we soak it in water, and then we sprinkle it with that very coarse salt, which is called kosher salt, even though all salt is kosher. And this draws out the blood from the meat. And the only other way to eat it, if you don't kosher it, is to broil it over a drip pan. But it says here that we are not allowed to eat blood. Interestingly, throughout our history, the Jews have been accused of drinking blood and kidnapping Christian children and killing them and drinking their blood. And this is entirely nonsense. But I think you should know there is a book that I read some time ago, which is called The Fixer. And it's the story of Yaakov Bach, who is a poor man trying to make a living. And he manages to sneak into the Christian part, Moscow or whatever it is. And he is accused of kidnapping and killing a little Christian boy. And they put him on trial. It's written by Bernard Malamud. I would give it a B, I suppose, as a novel. I mean, most people know the story anyway. And he does get off in the end. There, I just went ahead and ruined it for you. I am very sorry. But this whole idea of the prohibition against blood is a very significant one. The other thing we need to know is that this is Sphira. The counting of the Omer takes place during this period. It is, as I said before, 7 weeks of 7 days, grand total of 49 days. And Sphira is considered a sad period. It's not as sad as, say, Tisha B'Av, but it is still very solemn. God judges the world's annual wheat supply, and hence an atmosphere of reverence is in order. The mourning customs during this period are also intended to recall the Crusades. When the Crusaders, we're talking, I think, 11th century here, were on their way to the Middle East, they decided they were going to kill the unbelievers in their midst, who, of course, were the Jews. So the Crusades were a time of great suffering for the Jewish people. And because the Crusaders didn't wait until they got to the Middle East and killed the Saracens, even though the Saracens did better than they did. If you have ever ridden around on a heavily armored horse covered with steel plate armor, you get an idea of what I'm talking about. It's very uncomfortable. What else? Well, a number of years ago, one of my former bar mitzvah boys came to me. He didn't come to me. He sent his parents. The parents came and they said, Rabbi, we want you to marry our son. And I said, what's the date? And they told me the date. And wouldn't you know, it was during Sphira. You're not supposed to do anything happy like weddings. I mean, obviously, if it's a Brit Milah, it's covenant of circumcision. That has to be done. That's what they call a mitzvah shehazman groma. That is a mitzvah dependent upon time. It has to take place on the 8th day after the baby is born. So they say, although a wedding performed during the Sphira in violation of the custom, it remains valid. Doing so is said to be dangerous, will have a negative effect on one's married life. Here's something you can do. If you are divorced from somebody and you want to remarry them, well, then go ahead. It's allowed. You can attend and participate in a wedding between Pesach and Shavuot, even if it conflicts with the period in which one normally observes the Sphira restrictions. So how can you make heads or tails out of this? Are you allowed to get married during Sphira? No. What happens if you get married during Sphira? Absolutely nothing. But you could, for example, eliminate the music because you're not supposed to listen. And what kinds of music? You're allowed to listen to taped music, CDs, tapes, streaming music, anything like that. That's all perfectly allowed. But you can't have a cappella. Well, who does a cappella? If you're getting married, you're having Bach playing. Well, can I say? Reminds me also that the Rabbi Emeritus in Fayetteville told me that you can't get married using Wagner because he was an anti-Semite, and you can't get married using oh gosh, who else? Oh, any Christian music. So I always recommended they use Pachelbel. It is Christian music, but it's beautiful stuff if it's done right. I've heard it ruined in many, many different weddings. Okay, so you should avoid moving into a new house during Sphira. If moving is absolutely essential during this time, then you should at least arrange that it take place on Rosh Chodesh Iyar. If it's the new month of Iyar, then it's okay. If you're faced with no choice, then you can move into the new home anytime during Sphira without reservation. Once again, what's the law? What is this is the OU, by the way. This is the Union of Orthodox Jewish Congregations of America. So obviously they're right. But if they say two things, how can they avoid being right? It's very strict. The Sphira restrictions are not mentioned anywhere in the Talmud. It first started around 600 CE. There's also a custom for women not to engage in any work from sunset onwards each night during the Sfirat HaOmer period. Some authorities maintain that it applies to men as well. Among the explanations is to recall that each day after sunset, the students of Rabbi Akiva who had died that day were buried. As such, people were busy tending to the burial and not working. I tell you, the hits keep on coming. It's so sad to think about these young men dying and getting buried and so on. It's all very strange. Okay? Well, I would ask for questions, but I'm really not in a position to get them. So let's move on. This is page 28. We rise for the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. Leolam Vahed. Amen. Let's read together the middle paragraph above the line. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, your word bringing the evening dusk. You open with wisdom the gates of dawn, design the day with wondrous skill, set out the succession of seasons, and arrange the stars in the sky according to your will. Adonai Tzvaot, you create day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness away from light. Eternal God, your sovereignty shall forever embrace us. Praise to you, Adonai, for each evening's dusk. El Chai V'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai, Amariv Aravim. Amen. Below the line on the left-hand side, on 29, let's read responsively, the Torah is a tapestry. The Torah is a tapestry that can adorn the days in which we dwell. Together, let us embrace it and make it our own, weave its text into the texture of our lives. Its teachings sustain us, its beauty delights us, and we open our eyes to its splendor. It is not a mystery far beyond reach. It is not in heaven beyond our grasp. It is as close to us as we allow it, on our lips, in our heart, integral to our deeds. Let us study its words, fulfill its commandments, make its instruction our second nature. It is the tangible gift of God's love. Weave its text into the texture of our love, your love. Okay, here's the Shema on page 30. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Uncover the eyes. Baruch Shem Kivod, Malchuto, Liholam Vohed. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. These words which I command you this day, you shall take to heart. Teach them diligently to your children. Recite them at home and away, night and day. Bind them as a sign upon your hand, as a reminder above your eyes. Inscribe them upon the doorposts of your homes, on your gates. Let's continue with the Michamocha on page 32. Malchuto b'ratzon kiblu aleihem Moshe u'bnei Yisrael achanishira simcha rabba yamru chulam michamocha po'elim Adonai michamocha nedor ba'kodesh Noratilot Osef Ele Ahud Harovanecha Okayam Lifnei Moshe Zeli Anuvi Amru Adonai Imloch Violam Vohed Benemar Kifad Adonai et Yaakov Ugialo miad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai Goal Yisrael. Amen. All right, at this point we have the folks who are not well. This is on page 33 at the top. I'd like to read the following names, and if there's anyone, I can't take names now, but if you think about the folks you know who are not well. Herb Yefsky, Refuah Shlema. Sheila Bergman, Refuah Shlema. Jeff Stern, Refuah Shlema. Laura Durant, Refuah Shlema. Marsha Y. Roby, Refuah Shlema. Vince and Patricia Massey, Refuah Shlema. Joe Albert, Refuah Shlema. And of course, the folks in Israel who lost their lives during the present conflict. Let's read the English at the top left of 33. Help us, Adonai, to lie down in peace, and awaken us again, our sovereign, to life. Spread over us your shelter of peace. Guide us with your good counsel. Save us because of your mercy. Shield us from enemies and pestilence, from starvation, sword, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, O God, who watches over us and delivers us, our gracious and merciful ruler. Guard our coming and our going. Grant us life and peace now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Praised you, Adonai, who spreads the shelter of peace over us, over all his people Israel, over Jerusalem and the entire world. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, Baruch atah Adonai, aporei sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim, v'al kol haolam kulo. Page 34. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat Lidorot Berit Olam V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat Lidorotam Berit Olam Ve'ni uvein b'nei Yisrael Oti liolam, Oti liolam, Oti v'shalom v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasod et HaShabbat Lidorotam itolam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, asa Adonai, et hashamayim v'et haaretz v'shamru b'nei Yisroel et hashabat lasot et hashabat lidot b'rit olam. Uvayom hashvi Shabbat vaynafash, Shabbat vaynafash, Shabbat vaynafash, Vishamru b'nei Yisroel et hashabat lasot et hashabat lidot b'rit olam. The half Kaddish at the bottom of 34. It gadal v'it kadash shemei rabba. Amen. Adivra cherute v'yamlich malchute v'cha hayechon uvya omechon uvchaye l'chol beit Yisroel ba'gala ba'gala uvizman kariv v'yimeru amen. Yeheshme Rabba Mevora V'olam Yolme Maya Yitbarach Yitbarach V'yishtabach Yipor V'yitromam Yitnase Yitadar Yitale Yitala Shemei Kudesha Brich Leila, bin kol birchata, bishirata, tushbecha, tavenet, lemata, da mihiran bialema, bimeru, amen. The Amidah, the standing silent meditation, 35b to page 38, after which you may be seated. If you're still doing the Amidah, please continue. Otherwise, I'm on page 38, the top paragraph. Shalom Raha, Al Yisroel Amcha, Tasim Li Lam. Shalom Raha, Al Yisroel Amcha, Tasim Li Olam. Ki ata hu melech Adon, lechol hashalom, ki ata hu melech Adon, lechol hashalom, shalom rav, Yisrael Amcha Tasi Leolam Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasi Leolam V'tov b'einecha Livarech et Amcha Yisrael B'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. All right, we'll continue now. I want to thank you folks. I could see in the roster on the side, we have a nice turnout. I'm really glad you're here. Thank you. All right, page 47. And the tune I'm going to use for the top paragraph is, it was used back in 1973, which at the time I considered that particular war to be the most difficult and desperate for Israel. That is the Yom Kippur War, okay? And a song came out of that particular war, which is in the year that will come, these are the lyrics, in the year that will come, you will see, we will sit on our porches and count all the wandering birds. There will be no war. You'll see there'll be peace. Vayichu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzivah. Vayichal Elohim bayom hashevi v'lachto asher asa. Vayivarech Elohim vayishbot bayom השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו. כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו מכל מלאכתו. כי בו שבת Mikol melachto, Mikol melachto, Asher bara Elohim, Asher bara Elohim, Asher bara Elohim לעשות, Asher bara Elohim, Asher bara Elohim, Asher bara Elohim לעשות. And the bottom paragraph, which is really a synopsis of the Amidah that we just did. And the tune goes da 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 da. Mogen havot bidvaro, chaye metim b'mamaro, oel hakadosh shein kamohu. Ameniach liam biyom Shabbat kodsho, kivam ratza lehaniach lahem, kivam ratza lehaniach lahem, lefanav navod b'irav afachad, v'nodeh lishmo b'chol yom tamid, ein habra. El Ahudahud Adon Ashalom Mikadesh Shabbat Umvarech Shvi Umeniach B'Kedusha Le'amidu Shnei Oneg Zecher Lemase Virei Sheet. zecher lemase bereishit. And the top of 48. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ritzei emnuchatenu kadishenu b'mitzvotecha v'tein chelkeinu b'toratecha sabenu mituvecha v'samchenu Yeshuatecha l'ta'eni bein le'avdicha v'emet v'han chilenu Adonai Eloheinu v'yava u'vratza Shabbat kachecha v'yanu chuva Yisroel B'kadishei Shemecha Baruch Atah Adonai B'kadesh Hashem Amen. Yitkadal Yikadash Shemei Rabbah Amen. Yalma Divrach Hirutei Yamliach Malchutei B'chayechon Uv'yimeichon Uv'chayechol Beit Yisrael Agalav Zman Kariv Yimru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Barach Yolam Yol Mehomaya Yitbarach Barach Vishtabach Yipoar Vitromam Vitnase Vitadar Vitale Vitalo Shemeda Kudesha Brichu Li'elam Min Kol Berchata V'Shirata Tushbechata V'Nechamata Amiran Bioma V'Yimru Amen Titkabal Saloton Uva Uton Dechoyes Roel Kadam Avuhon Tivishmaya V'Yimru Amen Yehi Shalom Rabba Min Shemaya L'chaim Aleinu V'Kol Yisrael V'Yimru Amen Ose Shalom Bimromav Uyase Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen Yase Shalom Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael Yase Shalom Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel V'imru Amen. Okay, folks, charge your cups. We've got the Kiddush on page 49. Okay. Savri Marnan Rabbanan Rabbatai Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam Ore Peri Hagafen Amen Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam Asher Kiddushanu Mitzvotav V'Ratzavanu V'Shabbat Kodsho V'Yava V'Ratzon Chilanu Zikaron L'Maseh V'Reshit Ki hu yom techila lemekrai kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim ki danu b'charta yutanu migdashta mikol ho'amim Shabbat kachecha Ava uvratza in Baruch Atah Adonai B'kadesh Hashem I think next time we'll vote on a key to sing.
This is why I don't like to turn it all on. This is what happens.
That was great. No, we like people.
I know.
Okay, well, we're going to count the Omer now. Always a crowd pleaser. And don't forget, you cannot get a haircut till Lag BaOmer. That's the 33rd day of the Omer. Okay, it's number 11 at the bottom of 55. Baruch atah Adonai
Cannot get a haircut till Lag
Eloheinu
BaOmer.
melech haolam asher
33rd day of the Omer.
otav v'tzivanu al
Okay, it's number 11
Omer.
at the bottom of.
Oh, there we are. Look,
Is that me with the echo?
No, I just shut them off. Sorry,
Okay.
Lana.
All right, number 11. Hayom achar asar yom shehem shavua echad v'arba yamim lahomer. This is the 11th day, making 1 week and 4 days of the Omer. Exactly.
exactly.
Right, that's from Malcolm. Yeah, that's too good. Okay, we've got the Aleinu in the usual place, except I can't find it. Here we go. Page 51. Aleinu the Shabbat Adon Hakol Late Dula Hello Asmanu Igoye Haratzot Ilo Samanu Mishpachot Adama Shelo Sam Kenu Igor Aleinu Yechol Hamonam Anastu Korim Ishachabim Odim Lifnei Melech Malchei Hamlachim Kadosh Baruch Hu Unote Shamayim Yosei Haaretz Umosha Vikoro Bashamayim Mimal Ushchinatu Zo Ushchinatu Zo Kaveh Miro
Judy.
Hu Eloheinu Emet Malkeinu Mesulato Akatu Itorato Miadatayim Miadatayim Ashevota Elvavecha Ki Adonai Hu Elohim Bashamayim Yal Haaretz Yal Haaretz Itachat Eno Nemar
Adonai.
Haaretz Adonai Shema Ushema Ushema Echad. Any announcements? Oh, Rita,
Tomorrow, the Eisen family and the Hyatt family and their extended cousins. It sounds like there's a big echo going on.
That's because everybody, I unmuted everybody and put them on video, so won't do that again until the end.
I tell you something. I miss seeing everybody during the service.
But we've had some embarrassing moments.
Well, even with some embarrassing moments, I miss seeing your faces during the service. It feels better to be worshiping with you. And if I ever embarrass you, I apologize.
Not you, Rita. Not you, Rita.
But it just feels better. Tomorrow, the Eisen family and the Wyatt family are just celebrating their families with a beautiful kiddush at Temple tomorrow. And of course, Sunday is Yom HaShoah. And we have a second generation teacher coming in, especially for that very special observance. It's at 3 o'clock. Please come. The foundation, which is still the Annette Basloff Finger Holocaust Center for Remembrance and Learning. It's still there. It exists because Gail and Stan Eisen have taken that over. And Gail being a second generation child of survivors, it's very important to her. So if you can all come at 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, of course we'll have coffee and cookies, but more importantly, especially in these very, very difficult times, we will not be letting this important observance go by the wayside. It's
It
more,
will be on Zoom.
it will
Yes.
be on Zoom.
Yeah.
It's more, it's important every year, of course, but this year especially, when we are under fire as a people, and there's so much anti-Semitism in our beautiful country. So Rabbi always gives me hope in this terrible situation, and I thank him from the bottom of my heart, as we all do. So tomorrow for regular Shabbat services that are Zoom as well, and then Sunday at 3 o'clock for Yom HaShabbat. Shabbat Shalom.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Thank you,
Shalom.
Rita. Yes, I think the echo was definitely to your advantage. It gave that voice coming from Mount Sinai.
A little something, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's. Yes, we have to do the mourner's Kaddish, and as always, I'm asking everyone. Asking everyone to please rise for the mourner's Kaddish, memory of the Israelis who lost their lives in the current conflict. Yitkadal v'yitkadash b'mei Rama Adi brach v'rutei
Shalom.
Chayechon v'meichon v'chayed chol beit Yisrael Agalal v'zman kariv v'yimru amen Yehi shmei Rabba v'vorach v'yalav v'leil Yitbarach Yishtabach Yitba'ar Shomam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei dekudesha b'richu V'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechamata Namiran v'alma v'yimru amen Yehi shalama Rabba v'naya Ayim aleinu v'yisrael amen Hoseh shalom v'mromav Uyaseh shalom Ainu v'yal koy Yisrael v'yal koy yoshvei tevel v'yimru amen.
Amen.
Seated. Want to thank Rita for her announcements, and I do urge all of you to attend the Holocaust Memorial Service, which will be Sunday at 3, and as we heard, it will be broadcast on Zoom. Okay, a lot of congregations are starting a custom of singing the Adon Olam, the tune of the Hatikvah. I think, for example, when we eat a hard-boiled egg, that Pesach, that sort of thing, the egg is the only type of food which gets harder the more you boil it. And that is symbolic of the Jew. The more they persecute us, tougher we get. Okay? Okay.
For example, when we eat a hard-boiled egg,
Shimon Nitra.
אחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו לא נורא, והוא היה, והוא הופך, יהיה לתפארה. הוא אחד, כי אין שני, להמשיל דלי ראשית, דלי תכלית, Delo haos Weli b'chai goali B'tur hevli b'etzara Ehu nisi umanos li Not kosi b'yomekra Yado Avki Ruchi Mieti Imruchi Kiviati Adonai Elohim. And the closing benediction. Thank you so much for this, our first online service, second online service. Just pushing for it. Okay. Yivarecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Yo'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yisad Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May the Lord turn his face unto you and grant you peace. Amen.
Amen.
Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
Shabbos, everyone. So nice to see everybody.
It's
Great
so
to see you,
good.
sweetie.
So good.
Take care. Everybody be good.
See you tomorrow at Temple.
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Doreen.
You're welcome, honey.